Hey gang, happy Monday. Welcome back. Bill Sheridan here with the Maryland Association of CPAs, ready to kick your week off with another great CPA story for you. We've been interviewing members near and far recently in search of the purpose behind the profession, right? The why behind what CPAs do. And this week, my guest is Remi Omisore. Remi is a principal with Clifton Larson Allen and another CPA whose gateway to the profession was an early love of math. But as he told me, right, the numbers are at the core of what CPAs do, but CPAs are actually in the people business, which leads to Remi's next point that accounting it's a great big open door that can take you wherever you want to go. So I'm going to let Remi explain further. Great insights here this week from Remi Omisore, here to share his CPA story.
My initial pull was I was a math student. I liked math. I liked the story that math could tell and the concreteness of it all.
Uh-huh.
And I think that was my initial pull to accounting. And then probably a couple semesters in, I think I learned that while the numbers were the core of what we did, I'm actually in a people business, right? I'm in a people relationship business.
Yep.
So I think the initial pull was the numbers. And what keeps me here is the relationships that I have, not only internally with the staff and the team that works with me, but the clients we get to serve and the communities that I work in. So not only things like the MACPA and groups that pull together talent, but also I work in governmental entities, which at the end of the day are supposed to be for the collective good. So
Yeah. Yeah.
providing those core governmental services.
That's wonderful. Well, and you may have alluded to some of this in the first part of your of our conversation here, but tell me what you think the purpose or the why is behind your work. What do you accomplish by doing what you do?
Yeah. So I always, and the way I like to think about it is the accounting is the language of business, right? So, um, you know, income statements, credits, tax returns, all those things that where we spend the most of our time. That is the language, and I like to view myself as an interpreter of that language, right? So, one of the things that I feel is purposeful and the why behind what we do is we've got a core understanding of tax laws or accounting standards. But the reason we use those standards is so that you can tell a message to a person and in my particular company, we don't do any large, SEC clients. We are mainly privately held businesses. So you think of your accountants, your lawyers, your physicians. That's who we serve, and they really need help translating because things that are inherent to us aren't necessarily inherent to them when
Yeah.
it comes to savings and efficiencies. So the why I like to think of the why is we are here to interpret the activities of a company to hopefully provide values to the owners of their company so they can either support their families or support the communities that they work in. But putting those two things together is really the core of what I think is the why that interpreting the financial statements or tax compliance to help business owners and communities.
That's great. And it's really interesting. You're the second person this week that I've talked to who has used those terms, interpreter or translator,
Yep.
to describe what they do. And I never really thought of it in that light, but it's true in a sense. What's most gratifying to you about the work you do? What kind of inspires you?
Yep. So again, being born and raised in Baltimore City, I grew up in a low income household. So the same programs that I look at from a accounting compliance standpoint for me. So you think of your food stamp programs or social services or all those government programs that are designed to help people. You think of Pell Grants and financial aid. Um, when I get a chance to take a look at those programs and provide feedback, whether it be to how to effectively get more money into people's hands or identify the population of people in need, I think to me that's the most gratifying component of my work is being a kid who went through some of those programs,
Mhm.
now being on the other side saying, how can I use my accounting brain to figure out a more effective way to give it back and to have more impact in our communities?
That's fantastic. Kind of coming full circle there. Well, let's say you were faced with a high school student or a college student, someone who's uh, kind of struggling to figure out where they fit, what they want to study, or where they want to go. What would you tell them about accounting?
Yeah. So accounting is the great big open door. No matter where you go or where you want your career to end, um, accounting is a good entryway to get to understanding the business and figure out what you want to be exposed to. So there's tons of things, and the MACPA has tons of opportunities of people who started in accounting and went into politics or went into being owning their own companies, but just having that core understanding of accounting and how processes works, it's no other career, in my opinion, that's a better start to get exposure into the business realm. So, come for the education and the exposure. Stay because you want to help people. But if you leave, you're going to leave with a good background of how business works.
Great stuff there from Remi Omisore. So glad he could take time out of his busy schedule to be here with us today. We want to hear from you as well. So head on over to macpa.org/why. Share your story with us as we try to offer a little bit of inspiration to the next generation of accounting and finance professionals. We want to hear what your CPA purpose is too. So help us out there. And in the meantime, just thanks for being here as always. We'll be back again next week. More stories to share then. Until then, have a great week. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.